Cronkite News starts now.
Hello and welcome to this Cronkite News special edition. I'm Cassie Rhonda. Thanks for joining us. Tonight we bring you a series of reports from our Borderlands beat, from our team coverage on Latino issues affecting the presidential election to a range of stories important to Arizona's trans-border populations and culture.
The Republican National Committee was the scene of a conversation between President-elect Donald Trump's transition team and leaders of minority advocacy organizations. Reporter Sabella Scalise is in Washington, D.C. with what went on behind closed doors.
A week after the elections and days after Latino group leaders requested to meet with the president-elect's transition team, they, along with 25 other elected officials from minority groups, had their request granted to meet here at the RNC. Wednesday's meeting followed a campaign season during which President-elect Trump often made headlines with his comments attacking certain minority groups. But members of those groups who were here say they hope dialogue in meetings like this will help remedy a negative narrative.
What we've heard are solutions. I think what we have seen and what we've heard are new models to solve old problems. We have downstairs a group of folks who are directly connected to people at the city level, at the county level, and at the state level. These individuals have great constituencies, and they've been servicing them in an elected official capacity, so they're closest to the problems.
Arturo Vargas was part of a coalition of Latino groups that said last week they were willing to work with the incoming Trump administration, but were also prepared to push back.
Questions remain. We continue to have questions, and that's why we're here. We want to be able to understand how this administration is going to put itself together when it takes office on January 20th.
Another host of the gathering came away from the meeting with a positive outlook.
And, you know, I certainly think that we've had an important first step here today, and we will see how things develop. But, you know, I'm certainly encouraged in terms of the productive conversations we've had today.
The meeting was closed to the media, but members in attendance say this meeting will be one of many in the upcoming weeks and months. In Washington, D.C., Sabella Scalise, Cronkite News.
Meanwhile, a few congressional leaders say President Obama can make a major impact by protecting some undocumented immigrants for good. Dylan Eddy brings us the story from Capitol Hill.
Democrats are urging President Obama to protect young people known as Dreamers, a group of undocumented immigrants who first came here to the United States as children, but now are facing deportation on the first day of a Trump presidency.
We are asking the president to pardon them for their undocumented status, which by definitions happened when they were juveniles and children brought here by their parents.
Leaders of this action say it's the president's responsibility to do everything he can to keep these young people safe.
We urge the president to use his authority found in Article 2 of the Constitution to grant a pardon for the immigration violations of these young people.
The Democrats have blamed the Dreamers' fears of deportation on the rhetoric used by President-elect Trump during his campaign. Many of these immigrants are uncertain of the future.
The fear is widespread and it's dangerous. We will be working over the coming months to identify as many ways as we can to help our fellow Americans protect themselves and make their families and children safe.
Congresswoman Lofgren said that this pardon would not solve all issues faced by immigrants, but it would help to eliminate fear.
They wouldn't have a green card, they wouldn't have a piece of paper, they wouldn't have work authorization, but they wouldn't have to be living in fear every moment of their lives about deportation.
We reached out to Arizona Representative Paul Gosar for a statement, and he told us that illegal immigration is immoral and wrong, and these pardons are unnecessary and condone illegal behavior. Reporting from Washington, Dylan Eddy, Cronkite News.
A North Phoenix church offers sanctuary to some unauthorized immigrants facing deportation. And ahead of the election, the pastor is hearing from more people who may need help. Cronkite News reporter Katie Bierry visited the church to find out why.
Shadow Rock United Church of Christ has been Sixto Paz's home for the past 4 months. He's lived in the U.S. for 32 years, but now faces deportation.
Porque te quitan tu libertad.
They take away your liberty.
They take away your family. They take away your whole world.
But immigration authorities do not make it practice of detaining people at places considered sensitive, like churches and schools.
They're not hiding anybody. When a person comes in here for sanctuary, we notify ICE immediately.
This North Phoenix church and a few others are reviving the sanctuary movement that began in the 1980s to help Central Americans fleeing war.
We had no intention of resisting our government. We didn't understand that was our role, but we weren't going to let people die.
Now, there are concerns about a new spike in Central American migration.
They are migrating north in order to get here before the presidential election, thinking that they're going to lose their opportunity for a better life.
Fears about mass deportations could lead others already in the U.S. to seek a safe haven. Ismael has made Arizona his home for 25 years. Now he's living at the church.
You're always thinking about your family. You don't sleep in your home. You don't sleep in your bed. You don't sleep with your family. Every time you lie down at night, you think of them.
Although the church does offer sanctuary to Sixto and Ismael, their families still provide their food, which they cook every day.
If the men leave the church, they risk being deported.
Why be locked up here? From everything that I love. And everything that I've struggled for.
In Phoenix, Katie Beery, Cronkite News.
It has been months since the two men have slept in their own beds. Ismael marked his one-year anniversary living at the church this month.
According to the CDC, 1 out of every 4 women in the country have experienced domestic violence. Immigrant women face additional challenges getting help. Some qualify for a special visa for victims of violence. This year, the U.S. government approved more than 17,000 of those visas. Cronkite News reporter Yami Flores talked to a Phoenix woman who hopes to qualify.
Ana Leon is building a new life in Phoenix with her 5 children, far from the violence they experienced in Sonora, Mexico.
The children arrived with psychological problems, traumatized.
Leon says the 2 youngest children had been taken by force by their father. She did not see them for more than a year. Once she tracked them down,
I quickly took them all and ran to the border.
They crossed in June with just their clothes on their backs.
2 of my children were born here. That's why I asked for help in the U.S. I knew if I stayed in Mexico, their dad would have taken them again.
Leon found help here at De Colores, a shelter for victims of domestic violence. This is one of the rooms offered by De Colores for their program called Crisis, which provides food, clothing, hygiene products, and a transition to a new life.
So a lot of times the abusers either have residency or citizenship, and the women don't. So the abuser holds that against them and says, I'm going to report you, I'm going to have you deported. So that's a form of control.
Some immigrant women who arrived at De Colores may qualify for a U visa. The special visa is for victims of certain crimes who have suffered abuse and are helpful to law enforcement investigating criminal activity.
I feel very proud of myself for giving my children a better life and being able to do it on my own.
Leon applied for a visa and is waiting for an answer. In the meantime, she's sharing her story to encourage other victims to seek help. Yami Flores, Cronkite News.
Thousands of Haitians are gathered on the border trying to enter the U.S. They started arriving over the summer. Most are stuck in Tijuana. But this fall, a growing number also showed up in Nogales, Mexico. Cronkite News reporter Alejandro Barjarona talked to Haitians who hope to make a new home in the U.S.
At this busy port of entry in Nogales, a group of Haitians waits and watches others cross into the U.S.
I know getting to the United States won't be easy, but only then I'll be satisfied.
Wilmer Solomon was an auto mechanic in Haiti, and when he could not provide for his wife and 2 children, he left for Brazil.
In Brazil, I could not find enough work. So my friends and I got together and decided it was time to leave for the U.S.
He's not alone. At least 4,000 immigrants have arrived at the border seeking temporary protective status, which the U.S. granted to Haitians because the country had suffered several natural disasters.
Haitians have been waiting. They've been having to sleep on the streets for a month to 2 months, however long the wait is. The U.S. is accepting fewer numbers of people, so they can't enter in as quickly.
In September, the U.S. ended temporary protective status for Haitians.
Haiti is still the poorest country in our hemisphere. They just recently had a hurricane. The infrastructure is not able they're not able to take care of the people that are already in the country, much less people that have been living many years outside of the country and have nothing to go back to.
Florida. I'm going to Florida because I have family there in the United States.
Solomon and other Haitians stuck in Mexico still hope they'll make it across the border and start a new life. In Nogales, Mexico, Alejandro Barahona, Cronkite News.
Many immigrate to the United States in search of something more, and one West Valley family of farmers hasn't wasted the opportunity. Reporter Adriana de Alba traced their roots deep into Mexico to find out how heritage plays an important role in the family business.
Some call it farming, but for a man who's earned a living by spending his days out in the open fields, this is a gift.
I enjoy being out, just away from everything.
Santiago Gonzalez was just 11 when his father brought the family of 16 to the United States from Mexico in search of a new opportunity.
This is a beautiful country, and the opportunities are there if you seek them, and if you have the desire to go get them.
After decades of success farming in the West Valley, it would be Santiago's turn to lead the family in a new venture. In 2007, he founded Tres Amigos Tequila, a product he named after his 3 sons.
We decided to make our own tequila mainly because the quality of the product was not there any longer, and we are true believers of quality.
But to the 59-year-old, finding quality agave meant having family involved every step of the way. And that led him back to Jalisco and the agave that the Gonzalez family has been growing on this farm for more than 4 generations.
We work hard on it, and it's family. And when you love family and you love everybody that's around you, what are you gonna have? You're gonna have nothing but the best at all times.
I'm standing on the Tres Amigos farm where more than 500 acres of agave are grown. This one in particular has about 2 to 3 more years until it matures. Here the workday starts bright and early as the sun begins to shine through the agave fields.
All day long, just imagine all day long with this thing in your hand, chopping and chopping and walking down the field, back the field, up the field, back. We don't stop. We don't know what stop means. It's a beautiful life if you like the outdoors. People that would sit in an office, sometimes they would do not understand, and they don't know what nature is.
It takes 7 years for the plant to reach full maturity. Then it's off to the distillery, where it's placed in high-pressure cookers for 12 hours. It's fermented and distilled. Next comes the aging process. The tequila is stored in large oak barrels for up to 5 years.
We do have it, some that have been there close to 7 years, so we're gonna find out how that one tastes. But it should be awesome.
Finally, the tequila is boxed up and shipped to El Mirage, Arizona, where Santiago Gonzalez proudly distributes Tres Amigos across 21 states.
When you have your brothers and sisters or your family united like that, you know, the mental state that you're in and the strength that you have because of all this family is invincible.
One family, 2 countries, and a legacy of success. In Jalisco, Mexico, Adriana de Alba, Cronkite News.
The effort behind Amigos hasn't distracted the Gonzalez family from its other businesses. Today, they farm more than 5,000 acres in El Mirage.
Some bakeries across Arizona are busy this time of year, making a special Day of the Dead bread. The holiday honors relatives who have passed away. Yesenia Beltran joins us to explain the significance of the bread.
Dia de los Muertos has roots in Mexico, but it's growing in popularity in Arizona. Some people gather in cemeteries to remember their family members, and others put up altars in their homes. And there's also a special holiday bread. As we speak, people are lining up to buy pan de muerto. It takes a team of bakers working extra hours to prepare pan de muerto. They sell about 800 Day of the Dead breads on November 2nd alone.
Tiene clase de todos americanos.
Lead baker and manager Jorge Romero says all types of people come in to buy the bread, not just Latinos. The bread is made from a special egg dough in a round shape with crisscross strips of dough forming bones and a skull in the center. This is the bread before it's all put together. Each part of the bread represents one part of the dead person's body. You'll have to let it sit for 3 hours before baking. It's baked in 310 degrees Fahrenheit, and after 4 hours, the result is this.
Exquisito pan, sinceramente.
Lourdes Sarabia de Olivas drove an hour and 15 minutes from Florence to West Phoenix to pick up her bread.
Since childhood, it was instilled in me that this was a special day to be reunited with your loved ones.
This time of year, the faithful believe the spirits of the dead return to celebrate with their families. The holiday is actually 2 days. November 1st is to remember children who have died, and November 2nd is for adults who have passed away. Yesenia Beltran, Cronkite News.
A singer who died more than 20 years ago is the face of a new line of cosmetics, and Selena's star power has translated into big sales. Cronkite News reporter Lillian Griego shows us why the makeup sold out in a matter of hours.
Colors that she used when she was alive.
Gabriela Elizalde has been a makeup artist for 11 years, so when MAC introduced a new Selena collection this fall, she was eager to buy the makeup.
She is someone that inspired me as a little girl, and she basically, I was a big fan of hers, and now that MAC came out with her collection, it was a must. I needed to get it.
Selena Quintanilla was a rising pop star when she was killed more than 20 years ago. She remains an idol for many Latinas. And those fans are the reason this MAC store in Phoenix sold out of the Selena makeup in a couple of hours. It was the same across the country, and there was record-breaking traffic to MAC's website. Fans took to social media to show the long lines to express their joy
So happy
and disappointment.
Since they signed the petition, which was like 2 years ago.
Okay, you'll find something.
The Selena collection is based on the colors that she used. We have Como la Flor, which is a red color, Dreaming of You, which is a maroon color, and the powder blush, which is called Tecno Cumbia.
This is the color that I'm wearing.
The lipsticks and other cosmetics are named after Selena's famous songs.
It really means a lot to me because I met her in '93.
Elizalde is careful about the amount of Selena makeup she uses. She has to preserve her supply until January. That's when the makeup goes on sale again. Lilian Griego, Cronkite News.
Phoenix hosted the first Mariachi Festival Food City Conference, headlined by the internationally renowned Mariachi Vargas.
As Cronkite News reporter Katie Beery shows us, it was also a chance for Arizona mariachis to showcase their talent.
Whether you call it rhythm or ritmo. This fast-paced, colorful world of mariachi music took center stage in Phoenix.
Tucson is considered the melting pot of mariachi in Puerto Rico, and I feel like now it's starting to get more and more involved through Phoenix.
Definitely, it touches you. Exactly, it touches you.
Conrado Duarte is a lifelong mariachi fan.
Makes you feel the song It can be any type of song, and you can just feel it within your heart and your soul.
Being a successful mariachi performer requires a few things: rhythm, practice, and of course, the luck.
When you see the region state of Jalisco, what I'm in right now, with the charro suit, it's representative of the state of Jalisco, where mariachi music was born.
The costumes of the ballet folklorico dancers are just as elaborate.
The skirt itself kind of represents the waves of Veracruz. A lot of Spanish influence because they landed on the port, their primary religion being Catholicism. And the design represents the slaves of the Spanish.
The show allowed performers to share their heritage and history with a modern audience. In Phoenix, Katie Beery, Cronkite News.
With immigration, the economy, and international trade being hot topics in this election, the weakening Mexican peso is making headlines as well. Cronkite News reporter Yemi Flores visited a bus station here in Phoenix and spoke to travelers about their experiences.
Top Royal International offers daily bus trips from this Phoenix bus station to several states in Mexico. Pedro Padilla just returned from a trip to Sinaloa where he attended a funeral. Padilla sends money home to aging mother and other relatives in Mexico.
We earn dollars. The peso has lost value, so we bring a little bit of money and exchange it for lots of pesos.
The peso exchange rate favors those with dollars like Mardia Beas, who also sends money home to Nayarit. She says it benefits, but passengers with pesos in their pockets are struggling. The weak Mexican currency reached nearly 20 pesos in $1 this fall, and the impact is felt in Arizona. And some of the passengers traveling to Phoenix getting off this bus are here to shop, but the less the Mexican peso is worth, the less they get to spend.
It's hard for us to come and visit my sister and relatives.
Duarte earns pesos in Sonora, and he had less money in his wallet to spend during his trip to Phoenix.
When I take my products back to sell, people don't have enough purchasing power to buy them.
Bernabé Avila Lopez travels from Los Mochis, Sinaloa to Phoenix every 3 months to buy orthodontic supplies. This trip he bought less because he knows he'll sell to his customers back in Mexico. Yemi Flores, Cronkite News.
Some artists craft with clay, others prefer a paintbrush, but Cronkite News reporter Katie Beery found one Arizona artist who uses a government-issued garment to tell the stories of the hundreds of thousands who cross the border every day.
But it's a story that unites us all with a sense of hope.
Like many artists, Margarita Cabrera wants her masterpieces to tell a story. But her materials are different than traditional paint on a portrait.
One of the most important elements of Space in Between is that we are using Border Patrol uniforms.
Cabrera encouraged immigrants from Mexico, Germany, and all parts of the world to embroider their experiences on the green fabric.
We had people coming in the morning, leaving in the afternoon, wanting to stay longer, wanting to come after hours. People were so excited.
And this was the result. Her exhibit premiered at the Desert Botanical Garden last week. Each one of these art pieces, made of Border Patrol uniforms resembling cacti, has multiple unique messages. This one asks for a mejor futuro, or better future.
All too often, you see immigration come down in numbers and stats, and you forget the human stories to them.
It was therapeutic for many immigrants, like Rosa de los Santos from northern Mexico.
In my country, I lived with violence for a long time, so for the security and safety of my children and for the good of my family, I decided to immigrate to the United States.
Cabrera hopes to connect immigrants to the Arizona community for a more shared experience.
So we are brought together by people's immigration stories. These stories are weaving our histories and our pasts and our memories together.
This is crucial, that there are voices that help humanize the communities that are being dehumanized.
To create empathy along the border. In Phoenix, Katie Beery, Cronkite News.
Cabrera's art will be displayed until February at the Desert Botanical Garden. Following that, the exhibit will travel to California, New York, and Washington, D.C.
For many, a holiday dinner includes turkey or ham, but there's another meat dish enjoyed by some Arizona families this time of year. And as Cronkite News reporter Lillian Griego shows us, the recipe is originally from Mexico.
At Birria Obregón, the specialty is an authentic meat dish.
La birria es un platillo muy tradicional.
Birria is a very traditional dish in the Mexican community, and we include it in our celebrations and holidays.
Birria began in the Mexican state Jalisco. It's made out of goat. Other regions of Mexico use lamb or beef.
The secret for a great birria is for it to be tender. This meat over here has been cooking for about 3 hours and a half and still has a way to go. It can take up to 5 hours for it to be ready.
In Mexico, it takes even longer if the meat is cooked in the traditional way, underground in a pit for 12 hours. Efrain says the secret recipe for all good birria is
La combinación de especies.
The combination of spices, the time and love you put into making it.
Birria is what brings customers back to the restaurant.
My body craves this dish.
Luis Munive has been eating birria here for a decade. For many, that taste brings back memories of home.
I don't know how to make it. I have relatives who make a very delicious birria, so it's something I've grown up eating my entire life.
Hectic work schedules and busy holidays mean more families in Phoenix are eating their birria at a restaurant or taking it to go. For Cronkite News, Lilian Griego.
That's it for this special edition of Cronkite News. For top Arizona stories anytime, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.